everyone! And
Also,
oh.
so he's occasionally getting shrine buffs, which is why he's...
I'm sorry, everyone. I just ruined the opening of the episode.
I have no idea. I thought that sounded like Dav Gape. I thought Dav Gape was joining in. He's not here today. Neither is Dav Weeks. But this is episode 90 of the Video Games Ahoy Podcast.
That's crazy. You just told me that, and it dawned on me that we've been doing this for 2 years.
2 years.
2 years, dude.
2 years. It's mad. 2 years, and we're 10 episodes away from episode 100. Now, I don't know what the next step is. Maybe like the next step is virtual reality podcast, because we obviously went from like, you know, the pre-recorded podcast to live show. Yeah. And the next step obviously is virtual reality. I feel like that's the next step.
At some point we are going to run into a problem where we can't go any further.
Yeah.
You know, like, after that, obviously we just have to go around everyone's house.
Yeah.
And just like...
It's like Zach lives hundreds of miles away, but it's a Monday night, so that's what you got to do. My name is Jonathan Radford, and this is Zach Hamilton.
Hi.
Oh, this is going to be fun. As we've already said, we're Davless this week, so it's me and Zach, and it's going to be a fun one. Not that it's not fun when no one else is around. It's just that me and Zach might end up going off topic, considering some of the topics we have, if that makes sense. Should we talk about the podcast, Zach?
Yeah. Tell me what's
okay. If you like listening to video game podcasts by people who may or may not know what they're talking about, then we're on every Monday. So just tune in.
True.
Normally we're 8 o'clock, but we thought 7 o'clock today. I was home. I had my dinner. Zach was ready. Like, you know what? Let's just give the people what they want. And by that, I mean just they'll all miss us. So that's the thing. That's giving them what they want, not listening to us or watching us. That's what the people want. That's what they need. But we are everywhere. Spotify, Amazon, Google, Deezer, and others. We're all over the place, both in spirit and just in terms of where we are actually online. So go check us out there. I think we should mention that Dav does streaming every now and then. He sometimes streams, so please check him out. He's Davy G. Go check out his streams. I don't know how often he does them. We used to do them a lot more during the pandemic because we had a lot more time. Now we don't have more time, so it's becoming harder. But we may do some. I may do something on Thursday. Maybe, I don't know. I can't promise anything yet.
That was really. We were just talking before the show, and you were talking about how you miss it and how it's been. I feel the same, man. Like we had so much fun doing that. I still have like a few games that never finished.
Honestly, like watching you complete Wind Waker was genuinely one of the nicest things. And I was gutted I missed the last episode. I missed the last one. I had to...
Oh, that's right. You missed me having to play the final boss with the controller.
I did.
Was
it upside down?
It was yeah.
Oh, man. I didn't know that.
No reason. It was really... Do you know what? That boss is not very hard, but with an upside down controller, it's actually murder. Because you're doing like the gyroscope controls as well.
Oh, right.
I think that's right. Does the Wii U have gyroscope? I think it does.
I would assume so, considering the Wii does.
Yeah, it does.
The Wii does, so I'm assuming the Wii U does.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. But yeah, we may do something on Thursday, depending on how we feel and if we got time. But yeah, we'll just see. I do miss it. My point originally was go watch Dav. Go watch Dav. He does it sometimes. I can't promise when. Sometimes it's before the podcast, like a little pre-show warm-up. That's what he does. He likes to warm up the audience before we do a pod. So go check him out there. Should we get into the news, Zach?
Yeah, man. What's been? I know some of the things that have been happening.
So I might have missed some stuff. So basically, we didn't do a podcast last week because busy bees. So there's some news we're going to cover from last week because some of them are fairly big topics, and one of them particularly is one that I really want to talk about, obviously. So we're going to get straight into that one right now, and that is that The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 is no longer coming out in 2022. It's coming out in spring 2023. I'm just going to read out a little thing that Onuma said, which is, we previously announced that we were aiming for a 2022 release for this game. However, we've decided to extend our development time a bit and change the release to spring 2023. For those of you who have been looking forward to the release this year, we apologize. That's first of all, very nice of them to do that. Genuinely though, like they've been very like I appreciate this Nintendo where they're just very much upfront. They get the biggest people really and just go, we're sorry, this game, we know everyone's looking forward to this game, and but just being delayed. And
I mean, that's just how it works. Like I just feel like at this stage, I'm thrilled when they do that. That's great. I don't care. Like, obviously, it would have been nice to play it this year.
yeah.
Like, I'm never going to be upset about a game getting delayed ever again.
Yeah,
it's
me
just
too.
never going to happen. Now, especially because we talk about crunch, like,
Yeah.
more weeks than not, I would wager. It probably comes up
Yeah.
in the news or whatever. It's great. I'm really pleased about that.
Yeah. It is weird because like I guess we can talk about this for a little bit because like I guess to a lot of people it's a weird one because to some people they might use it as aha, it's all gone tits up, whereas to other people they might be like, well, COVID. I mean, I can't imagine COVID helped, but also like Breath of the Wild 2 was initially basically they started making DLC for the first game, and then they were like, oh, this is probably too good an idea, so let's just make a sequel. And that's, they just kept making more and more and more. And Zelda games are famously delayed. They're always delayed.
Yeah. They're always delayed.
Yeah.
If a Zelda game isn't delayed, it's unusual.
Like, the only one that goes against Zelda being delayed was Majora's Mask. And the whole thing around that was that they had to release it within 18 months. Like, Aonuma was told by what's his name? Miyamoto. They were like, we want you to make a next version of Ocarina of Time. And then Aonuma was like, no, I want to make another Zelda game. And Miyamoto was like, okay, well, you got 18 months, go. And they made a game in 18 months. Hey, yeah. CP, how you doing? How's it go? How's it going? How's it go? How's it go? How's it go with you? We're just talking about Zelda because it's me and Zach.
Yeah, of course.
Get ready for the next hour, everyone. Zelda, baby. But yeah, I honestly had the same reaction to you in that like at the time I saw it, I was like, I'm sad I don't get to play it this year. But then I was like, it's only like I thought it was going to come out in December anyway. So like if it's coming out in spring, we're thinking March 2023. That's only 3 more months. Like there's so many games that have come out that have come out and will be coming out this year that it's like I can wait. Like you said, man, I can wait.
Really are you up to date on all the games you want to play right now?
God, no.
No, of course not.
No.
There's no time.
I've got like my backlog in the last couple of weeks in particular has just grown. A constantly growing list. Is this a Zelda special? Potentially.
Kind of.
It's turning into one.
We're going to talk about.
Yeah. But it is a weird one. I'll still be honest. I'm really excited about it. I mean, one thing I was going to ask you actually, because obviously, like now that it's been delayed until March 2023. Does that make you more likely to buy one now that you know that you've got like a year to wait?
Yeah, maybe.
Buy a Switch, I should say, not buy one.
Sorry, buy a Switch. I think maybe. I think. Do you know what the crazy thing is? Like, I spend most of my traveling time right now doing like catching up on work and stuff. I kind of feel like I can't do anything else. Like that's what I have to do it, and there's nothing else interesting to do apart from like put a movie on or whatever. And when I do play games, it's normally like here, and it's like PlayStation or whatever. But with that being said, given that I've not now had a Switch for 3 years. I've missed out on a lot of games I really want to play.
Hell, man.
As simple as that. And also, I think like when I think back when I was playing Breath of the Wild 1, I told you I put like 250 hours or something into it. That will only be possible if I'm doing a lot of moving around with a Switch. You know what I mean? I could get into that. That could be cool.
No, I completely agree. I've said this numerous times. That the only reason I'd say the average amount of time that I can put into a PlayStation or Xbox game before I'm just like I can't do this anymore. Not because of the game, but just because of the setup and like me and Rosie share a TV, and it's not fair that I would spend so much time on the big TV while she's just watching.
Yeah.
It's around about 50 hours. Whereas when it's a Switch, I can add another 50 easy just by sitting next to her while she's watching TV, and I don't feel guilty then. Like I do genuinely play half and half. Like I do play half on the TV, and then when I'm like, okay, it's time for Rosie to watch TV, I'll stop playing a handheld.
especially if it's a big game. You know what I mean? Like, the
Yeah.
only reason this is one I always bring up, but like I would have never, ever, ever played as much Dark Souls as I did
Oh
if it was
yeah.
on, because it was just I just don't have the time. I don't have the patience. Like I'm just never gonna do that. Even for Breath of the Wild, which I didn't never felt like I was being patient with, but it was just like it just means that you just have the freedom to just actually sit and just be like, all right, I'm just gonna go over there, and I don't
Yeah.
care what I get out of it. That's fine.
Yeah.
Enjoying my life.
Well, yeah,
That's fine.
no, that's totally, you're totally right. Like, because of the nature of the handheld, you can just go, well, I can pick this up for half an hour and put it down in half, and sit in bed for like 10 minutes, and I'm just gonna go over there, and then I'm gonna pause it essentially, and then pick it up whenever I want to. It's like there's not. I mean, we're basically talking about why the Switch is awesome, which we've done many, many, many times. And also why Breath of the Wild is awesome, which we've done many, many, many times. But like, yeah, no, what I guess what we're trying to say ultimately is I can wait, because the experience of the first game, if Breath of the Wild 2 is anywhere near as good, it's going to be my game of the year. You know, because
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild is one of my all-time favorite games because of the nature of the game, because it was so good and because of the experience around it. So we can wait, is what we're saying.
All fine. Everything's cool.
Yeah.
Take your time, Nintendo. Take as long as you need. It's
100%,
fine.
100%. So like I said, I've mixed up some of these stories. So we might jump back and forth a few times, but just bear with me. Some of these stories from last week that I really wanted to talk about. This is a story I imagine was squarely aimed at Dav Weeks, and I'm going to apologize because I'm fairly certain that Zach might not have. If you have played this game, that I've guessed wrong, and I do apologize, Zach. Lucasfilm Games has announced Return to Monkey Island, a follow-up to the acclaimed adventure game series led by original writer and director Ron Gilbert. Gilbert will be creating the follow-up by his studio Terrible Toy Box in collaboration with Devolver Digital and Lucasfilm Games. I am genuine. I've never played a Monkey Island game, but I saw that and was like, I'm so happy for because I know everyone that I know who has played these games loves them.
Yeah. That's exactly how I felt. I saw it and I was like, I don't have any connection with this, but I'm thrilled for all the people that do, because
Honestly,
I never hear someone go like, the two things I never hear are, I fucking hate that game.
Yeah.
Or, oh yeah, I played that. Meh.
Yeah.
I never hear either of those things. It's always people who love it.
Yeah.
Which I don't know what that exactly says about the games, but it definitely says to me that people are going to be very happy that this is happening, and that's great.
Well, Dav Weeks I know loves it. When I put into the group that I told Dav Weeks that this game was coming out, he was just like, what? Like it was for him like one of the biggest games of the year, and I was like, I genuinely, for that reaction alone, I was like, well, I'm happy, because you can see how much people are. And one of my other friends, Jamie, he when I was a kid, he used to play it all the time. He was the person I knew that played it, and when I told him, he was like, what? This is awesome. So like, when you're getting those reactions from people and you're saying this new game in a series is coming out, it's like, I don't know, that it seems like it must be a good series. Everyone seems really thrilled by it, which is great.
Would you play the original now? Like,
I don't know.
That?
It's weird because again, and I don't want to bring it back to the Switch. I guess I am. If the originals were on the Switch, because they're point and click adventure games, I think. It wouldn't be too difficult. Like if you're playing it on the Switch, to literally point and click with a touchscreen. I mean, I guess that wouldn't be the best way to play it. But I mean, I guess my problem is I never. Whenever I'm sitting on my computer these days, it's to do work, and that like I always that's the thing I struggle with, is that I don't want to play games on my work computer. So like. It's a whole thing.
It would be the sort of game, though. Do you know what would be really fun for me and you to stream? I feel like we would enjoy doing that as like a share. I think I have to say, when we were streaming, one of the really nice things was when we were doing stuff together, because it was like an excuse to play a single player game with two people. Because you don't. I have to say, I don't do that very much these days. I did it with what was that game called? 7 minutes, 8 minutes?
Oh, 12 minutes?
12 minutes. 12 minutes. I don't remember how many minutes it was. But that was by accident.
Sorry. I just love how it was almost turning into a step song. 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes.
9. Whoops.
Oh, great.
Well, but that happened by accident.
Yeah.
So I just put it on. I put it on because it was on Game Pass, and Bronwyn and my housemate like just came in and just were like, "Oh, what's going on here?" And that was cool.
Yeah.
And I think that was one of my favorite gaming experiences of last year. Actually, equally, actually, all my favorite gaming experiences of last year were that.
Resident Evil.
And
Yeah,
because it was just like fun to do that. And,
man, I honestly still get flashbacks to you going no, and I just pissing myself. You're genuinely, and this probably says a lot about me. You're like, you were having such a bad time, and I could not stop laughing. I don't know what that says about me as a person, but oh my god. Yeah, but no, you make a good point though. You do make a good point.
Sort of game I would be inclined to do as a as a shared stream. It seems like the kind of thing that people would do.
Yeah,
maybe like that kind of game. I don't know.
No, I think so.
I'm not very big on point and click adventures, but mainly because I think they were a bit more popular before my time. Really, like I didn't really have PC games when I was a kid. We would have had Sims at some stage, but even that we would have had like after the fact.
Yeah.
Because we would have had like a crappy, like family PC, that's like an off-white.
I played Broken Sword as a kid, so like I do have experience as a kid playing like point and click adventure games and enjoying them. Broken Sword was one of my favorite games as a kid. I loved that game, and I think you're right as well. Like something like Monkey Island, it does feel like it would be a good game to play with a pal because it's so story driven, and it's not exactly like. I'm not exactly sitting there with the controller and be like, this is, everything hinges on me pressing the right button at the right time. It's like, I'm going to click to go here. Story. Like, say, John, click on that. Or Zach, click on that. It's like, it does feel like it could easily be a shared experience in that sense. But,
well, in 12 minutes, however many minutes it is, it was the same kind of thing. It was just kind of like a shared experience of a story, and you get to have an input, but it's like it's not that deep.
Yeah.
Speaking of series that have got a new edition for games that I don't think either one of us has played, that lots of people are very much in love with. Have you seen the Kingdom Hearts trailer?
Well, this is actually... Well, do you know what? We'll come on to that story now because that is actually one of the stories I was going to say because that's a huge...
Chicken Pie is very pleased about this.
Yes. So, I've never been... I've played Kingdom Hearts as a kid. And it's weird because like when I was growing up, my family loved Disney and I love Final Fantasy, so it should have been a lock for me that I was going to enjoy the game. I never got into them that much, but I never thought they were bad games. It's like one of those things that it just didn't. I didn't click. I needed to sit down and play it, and it never clicked with me. I imagine if I did sit down and play it would click with me. But like that trailer, like oh my god. You heathen. Yeah. I don't know if any of us in this group have played Kingdom Hearts actually.
Well, so I didn't have a PlayStation when I was a kid, so like we had an N64, and that was like I was a diehard. I say I was a diehard Nintendo fan. That's not true. We just didn't have a PlayStation, so I didn't. So I missed it, and I remember my friends talking about it and being like, "Oh yeah, it's super cool and fun," and like it's completely appeals to me. It's Disney, which I like, and it's anime, which I like, and it's gobbledygook anime, which I really like. So
it looks beautiful though, doesn't it?
Beautiful. It's really, really cool. It's gone a very different direction, which I'm kind of interested to hear how the fans feel about that. I think because I mean, are they using the Unreal Engine? They're using some.
They are. I think they're using Unreal 5. I think that was I think that was one of the big reveals about it. Chickpea, whilst we're talking with this, I just can you summarize why you think it's amazing? In a couple of short sentences, and then I'll read it out, and then people will know. We'll spread the gospel of Kingdom Hearts, even though neither of us have played it. But no, I do know loads of people that love those games, and people seem really happy. And you know what? Like it's really weird because two of the most beloved hack and slash Disney. That's perfect. I mean, that's summed up pretty. Story is sweet too. Does get a bit complicated though. That's one thing I have heard. It does get a bit much, story wise. But what are
you gonna do? It's anime.
I mean, yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think I see the reaction to that, and I saw the reaction. I remember the reaction to Sora and Smash, and people just seem really happy about it. So I'm happy for people.
Yeah,
I'm happy. Not for me,
feeling
but
I had about the new Monkey Island game.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
happy for people who are happy. So that's sort of
Anyway, back to Breath of the Wild.
this new Zelda game. Well, actually, we're gonna move on to there are Final Fantasy characters in here. That's always what drew me in because there's some Final Fantasy X characters in there specifically in the first game, and that was my favorite game around the time that it came out because I love Final Fantasy X. It's one of my all-time favorite games. But yeah. Everyone play it, including me and Zach, and then we'll become fans. We're gonna talk about E3. And I can't really think of a pun right now. So E3 is no more for 2022. So E3 is no more. I don't know. Just
Are they? Is E3 coming back?
so it is cancelled for this year, both virtually and in person. There's just no E3 this year, which is kind of. I like from what I've read about it. It kind of goes one of two. Like people feel really conflicted. On one hand, they're like. E3 has been like this really huge thing in video games for so long and so many moments, like so many huge moments. We can look back to the video game industry and be like, when did that happen? Like E3 at some E3 this happened.
Yeah.
On like
E3 20
you know,
whatever.
yeah, you know, like it's so
yeah.
many things like when they announced how much the PlayStation was going to be, when they announced like stuff like Twilight Princess, some people were mad. You know, like all these things that happen.
I can kind of like picture a lot of trailers and associate them with specific E3 years, which is kind of bonkers when you think about like there aren't very many that I have like that heavily ingrained, but it's the ones that really made an impression. And so what's the other side of the argument?
So, well, I think a lot of people are saying it's sad that we've lost, at least for this year, we've lost this event that meant so much to the gaming industry. But I guess on the flip side, a lot of people who go there almost every year, like it's lost that like sort of I don't know what the right word is, but it's not appeal, but that sort of it's not as necessary these days. It feels like as it used to be before. It was the way it was the way people found out. You know, you'd get your magazines as a kid, and that's like, oh, E3 is coming up. What's going to be announced then? And then all these magazines be filled with all these games coming out. Whereas now, like especially like since Direct in particular, it does feel like Nintendo are the ones that kickstarted this. Companies are just happy to just control it themselves. I mean, PlayStation hasn't even been there for the last 4 years, I don't think, or at least the last 3 years. They've not been there. They just stopped doing it. So I don't know. It
doesn't really make sense, does it? Because in the past, it was just like, it was down to money. You know what I mean? It's much cheaper to have a third party come along and be excited about it and spend. They spend the money on putting the word out, but it just doesn't cost very much to put it out, and you can have, as you say, a lot greater control over how your game is being presented to your audience. Because as you say, in the past with the magazines, it was just like, I mean, originally it was just like photographs of like screens and stuff that were just then printed on paper, and then you're sort of sat there squinting at an article written by a 20 something who happened to be at the E3 event. It's kind of a different world, but I do feel like it is there's a bit of an energy around it, at least. Totally. But maybe kids, now, like people who are getting into games, 10 years younger than me, 10 years younger than that, it's just doesn't really mean anything. So I guess in a way, it's just the nature of things,
Yeah, I think that's why for a lot of people it does feel like quite conflicted in that. I mean, I guess the best thing really to happen would be at this point would be next. If they come back next year to alter them, like the way that it's organized, to change things up a little bit, because it does feel, from what I've read, a lot of people are like it is stale, and like if you do go, you basically stand in a line in particular. If there's something in particular like Breath of the Wild or something huge like that, you stand in a line for like 3 hours and play it for like 20 minutes and that's it, and you're like. It's imagine like the worst parts of going to a theme park, but the worst parts, and that's kind of what E3 has become. But I don't know. It does make me sad, but at the same time, from what I've read, I mean, hopefully if they do bring it back, they'll change things up a bit at least. But all right, let's move on. Enough of E3. We're going to talk about Lego. Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga recorded the biggest UK launch for a Lego game to date, which is pretty crazy because there's been like 18 or something stupid. There's been a ridiculous amount of Lego games. I'm probably well off with 18. Based on physical sales alone, it beat the previous record holder, 2008's Lego Indiana Jones, by 8.4%, according to GamesIndustry.biz. It sold more box copies at launch than Horizon Forbidden West and Elden Ring, but it couldn't match Pokemon Legends Arceus, which is still currently the fastest selling game of 2022. That is mad.
Star Wars is like going absolutely nuts. Like, I don't get how they can be making so much stuff that people basically like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like everything that's been out lately that's Star Wars, and there's been quite a few things out that have been Star Wars lately. Everyone just seems to be like, yeah, good. There's no like, I mean, I'm sure there is lots of hate. I'm sure I went looking for it, but it feels like generally it's going well. Like, what is Disney doing right?
It's weird. I don't know, because I think the sequel trilogy, for a lot of people hate them. I actually quite enjoyed The Last Jedi because it treated the audience a bit more like an adult, and I know some people hate that. And loads of people, I'm very aware I'm gonna get like bombarded with comments. How dare you! My brother in particular.
Wait, hold up, sorry, I think I misheard. Did you say the sequel or the prequel?
The
sequel.
Sequel trilogy.
Yeah. I haven't seen any of them.
How dare you!
I've seen the prequel trilogy.
I mean, I know you've seen the prequel trilogy.
Yeah.
Hello there.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to the Star Wars thing, I mean, it does seem like recently Star Wars has been... It's weird because, from my perspective, it seems like everyone hates Star Wars right now. And like...
Oh, really?
Yeah, like, it's so weird. You go on Twitter, and as soon as Star Wars is mentioned, it's like... Everyone's like, no, it's not what I want. And that's just what it is. Like, everyone seems to... I don't know.
What about, like, doesn't everyone love, like, The Mandalorian and like...
I think they like The Mandalorian. From what I've seen of the... What was the other one? There was essentially the same thing, but with Boba Fett. The Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah, right? The book. Everyone liked that, right?
I don't know if they did. Like, the people I spoke to, like, genuinely didn't like it. But I don't know. We might have spoken to different people.
Okay, but so this is so interesting because I've just sat there and rattled off how I think everyone seems to like it. And you've sat there and gone, who are you talking to?
Well, yeah.
But I don't know. Are you a Star Wars fan yourself?
It's weird. It's really weird because I used to love Star Wars, and I was super excited for the prequel trilogy. The sequel trilogy. I guess the prequel trilogy, but the sequel trilogy. Like, I think all the discourse around that, there's people. I don't know. It really brought out the worst in some people, I think. Like, if you don't like a film, you don't like a film, I get it. Like, and to be fair, some of the... in my opinion, the first one is fine. I thought The Last Jedi was the best of the three. Or at least it was the most interesting from a film perspective. Baby Yoda saved Star Wars. So Bondos 2K UK will be here to tell us, because you're probably a bigger Star Wars fan than me, Carl, I think. I would assume... We both used to be in Star Wars fans, but like I think just a lot of people have just hated a lot. I don't know, man. It's weird.
It kind of comes back to what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago, where we were saying how you're allowed to just shut up.
Yeah.
You don't have to care.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is, like, I don't really care for the Star Wars series, especially. I don't think I ever really did all that much. But I don't care. Yeah. Like, it doesn't. I like that people enjoy it. Like, I don't think it's like bad. It's just it just doesn't do it for me. That's basically the extent of my feelings towards Star Wars. But then, but it's interesting that I got because we've obviously been talking to very, very different ends of the spectrum. But then wasn't Dav saying that the Lego Star Wars game that started this conversation was reviewing really well?
It is. Well, it's reviewing really well. It's reviewed very well, and apparently from the footage I've seen of it, it looks genuinely brilliant. And I at some point down the line I will pick it up. It's not something that I'm desperate to pick up right now, but down the line I'll definitely pick it up. It does look really good, and it's selling Like the original point before. I should have enjoyed this so far. I knew this would happen.
Be allowed
yeah,
to
yeah,
first
it's fine.
podcasts.
Yeah, just I'm glad that it's doing well, and I guess Star Wars is needs it right now. I guess so I think maybe Star Wars needs some good stuff because I think there's a lot of bad stuff happening with Star Wars. All right, we've got one story left. We've got one story left. EA lost the exclusivity rights, which is a great. It is no, Carl, you are right. I mean, the interesting thing with that is that what was the game that EA made that everyone actually quite enjoyed, and ironically, I did not. And I'm the one there here defending everyone's like rights to say things are good or bad. I'm like, no, it's crap. I think it was bad actually. It wasn't. Man. Fallen Order, yeah, because Dav loves it. Dav loves Fallen Order, but I didn't love it, and it made me kind of sad. I think it's because of the way they treated the lightsaber. I don't know, man. The only thing I get really sacred about with Star Wars is the lightsaber, because like it should like it. Do we all not remember Qui-Gon Jinn cutting through that door with his lightsaber, and it just feels like sometimes it gets underpowered and deep. I don't know. That was my gripe. The only gripe I really had. You know, if I'm whacking with a lightsaber.
I've always kind of felt like lightsabers are inconsistent because in the original movies, they don't do anything with it. They never use that. Like they spend the whole 3 films. Everyone's like, "Yeah, lightsabers are so cool," but like the coolest thing we ever see with a lightsaber is Luke going like this, and then the little floating thing.
Yeah.
They never like do any cool fights. Even the fight between Obi-Wan and, spoiler alert for a 50-year-old film, the lightsaber fight between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader just kind of goes like, hey.
Yeah. Apparently, it was like 5. They were like 5 to 10 kilograms in weight, so they literally couldn't do much with it because they were so heavy.
Wow.
So like, so it's really funny when you go back and watch it now. When you go back and watch it now, it is so slow. And the one thing the prequels did really well, actually, this is turning into a Star Wars podcast. The one thing the prequels did really well, I thought, were the fights. The fights are awesome. Like,
the fights are really good in it.
Duel of the Fates is Duel of the Fates happens to have one of the simultaneously the end of the Phantom Menace, one of the best Star Wars fight sequences, and one of the best pieces of music in any Star Wars film. Like, prequels did lots of bad, but there is some good in there, just like in Anakin Skywalker at the end of Return of the Jedi. There is some good in there. Anyway, we're going to move on to Mario Golf. Mario Golf is the latest N64 game to join Switch's expansion pack tier lineup. Nintendo has confirmed. The N64 sports site will be added to the service on April 15th and will be available to Switch Online expansion pack subscribers that very day. How was that? 4 days? 4 days. Dav Weeks made a really funny quip. So pretend I'm Dav Weeks for a sec. Okay. Dav Weeks made a really funny quip about there's finally going to be a good Mario Golf game on the Switch. And
that's right.
I really enjoyed that.
He was not a fan of the new one.
Dav Weeks said that in our little chat, and when Dav Weeks said that, I genuinely, because Dav Weeks is such a sweet person, when he said that, I laughed my ass off for ages because I just it was so sassy. I don't know why I laughed so much, but it is pretty funny. But yeah, there is a Mario Golf game coming, and to a lot of people, it is a good one. It's the only good one.
Will you play it? No.
I mean, maybe. I have that. The weird thing with the N64 pack is that I actually have most of the games so far. Like, there's nothing really that's jumped out at me other than I think it was Paper Mario. It's the only one I haven't had so far. So like, I've played a lot of these games recently, so I've not needed to go back and play them. Whereas, like, I don't know, if they brought something... There's not many games that I actually don't have for the N64 that they could bring out. So, maybe I could replay GoldenEye. Like, I did play that recently. I think Chickpea watched me play that. GoldenEye with decent controls would be nice. But yeah. I
played GoldenEye multiplayer recently. I really enjoyed it. It was really fun. It's really dumb.
The thing with GoldenEye multiplayer, right, is that you're all in the same boat. So, like, it doesn't matter that it's bad because you're all in the same boat. As long as one of you isn't Oddjob, then it doesn't matter because that's cheating.
That is cheating.
Genuinely.
I love that. I love that. That is just like a universally accepted rule.
It's true. It is cheating.
Yeah.
Like I think the GoldenEye team came out years later and was just like, yeah, well, it's 100% cheating because the hitbox it's not there. So like you have to aim downwards, and aiming downwards is impossible.
I like that you're doing the little karate chop thing rather than like a gun, right? You're doing like you're assuming that we're playing slappers only.
Oh, slappers only, because that's the kind of people we are. Me and Zac are big old slappers. But yeah, aha! I am invincible. Yes, ACP, you are invincible. Do you know what? I really did enjoy replaying that game. Like, it got to the point where when I was replaying, because when I streamed the game, I was really worried that I wasn't going to be able to play the game anymore. But like, you do fall back into it really quickly. Like, you do fall back into those controls. The N64 controller is a mess, but you do pick it up fairly quickly, which is good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's good. Well, that's it. That's the end of the news. I have not played any games this week or last week. I've not played any games for ages because I've been an extremely busy boy. My second wedding. I say my second wedding. It's not. I'm still married to Rosie. My wedding party is coming up soon, and we've been very busy planning that and sorting things out with that. So I have not had time to play any games. Zac, have you by any chance had any time to play some games?
I have had some time to play some games, but I'm gonna be really honest with you.
Okay.
all I've been doing when I've been playing games is working on my and this is a callback to my early streaming days, is working on my Last of Us No Death run.
I saw you playing Last of Us on PlayStation the other day. I was just like, I love it. It gave me a little, I don't know. I was just like, oh, Zac's playing The Last of Us. Things are right with the world because because that's what you do.
Changes.
That's what you do, man. That's what you do.
I'm starting to get I'm actually doing the first one at the moment. I'm starting to get really quick at it. Like I can get through the game in like okay, I mean, it's not like speedrun levels. It's probably like twice the level of that. Maybe like 5 or 6 hours. But I'm still having a couple of sticking points, which is killing me off. And I really want to get to the point where I can do a no death, no reticle run for both part 1 and part 2. I am a long way off of doing that. That is going to take me some time.
I don't know how you have the patience for it. I'm such an impatient person. I'm proud of you purely based on your patience, because I would honestly give up and walk away after about 5 minutes, and I'm not exaggerating. There
are definitely times where I like throw down the controller and I'm like, fuck this. And then like 3 hours later, I'm like, oh, I could be playing The Last of Us right now. Game, and then I'm just like, oh, I'll just play it again.
I keep saying this is the reason why I can't play any Dark Souls games. Because I genuinely do not have the patience to get. Well,
the other thing about Dark Souls is you don't get any credit for it. It's not like when you beat it, anyone's like, "Wow, that's cool."
Oh, I don't know. When you beat the game, someone on the internet like sends you a message saying that you got good. Yeah, someone on Twitter says you got good. That's what happens.
You got good. Yeah. It's the point when you can start using the past tense. That's pretty good.
Yeah. You got good.
Yeah, I got good.
Yeah, got good. Do you reckon? Because it's get good, isn't it? With the U. Is it get good?
I don't know, man. I feel like you're the only person who's ever said it to me, because I feel like anyone who would say it unironically are people who I would probably like
avoid.
I would just treat it as a little red flag. I'm not saying like bad people. I would just, recognize that for what it might be.
Yes, that is true. I mean, I'm not using it ironically, I should add. This is just my life. Everyone just needs to get good. That's what I say. Just that's what I live by. As I say, saying that I would definitely have a hissy fit if I played Dark Souls.
What's on your list at the moment? So once the wedding party is done with, you're back into your normal routine. Because I know how busy you are right now. What is first on the list? Well,
this is the thing. Like I'm suddenly going to have the most time that I've had in a while. So like, this is what I was saying. I might do a little stream on Thursday because I'm going to have a bit more time. Things are coming down now. I'm not working 6 days a week anymore, which is only just stopped. So on my backlist, I still need to complete Guardians of the Galaxy. It's one of those things. The problem I have is that like I I kind of tend to stick to one console at a time because I always switch the. I'm very lazy. This is
Yeah.
like my internet cable is plugged into one, and I just go switching back and forth all the time. So I tend to like, okay, I'm gonna complete this game on this console, and then I tend to switch it over and complete the next one because like just taking it out, it's just a nightmare, and it's so.
But also like you want to get your head stuck into a game. You don't want to be. Oh, I'm like halfway through this.
I can't do
it. I can't do that. That messes my head.
I can't do it. I can't do it. Like, and that's what happened with Guardians of the Galaxy. Sadly, is that I started playing, and I kind of regret it. I started playing GTA 5 because I was like, oh, I'm going to test it out. I'm going to see if, and I'm kind of stopped playing it because I was like, oh, I beat this game twice, and a lot of it just hasn't aged very well.
How can you have completed it twice, Johnny? It just came out.
I'm the problem with society.
You're basically the problem with GTA. You're the problem with society.
But I do need to pick up Guardians of the Galaxy. That is one thing I wanted to pick up. I'm waiting actually to get paid to pick up either. This is an interesting thing. You might be quite shocked by this. This is when my nerd side comes out. Either Kirby or WWE 2K22. Because I kind of want to trash, like not a trash game, but I kind of just want a game where like I need like a game where I can play for 5 minutes here and there throughout the week and not think about it. I need one of those. I don't have one anymore because Pez just screwed me. So I need one. Football.
Oh, right. I know what Pez is. I was just thinking of the little...
The Pez dispensers.
I feel like the dudes...
How dare they?
I just never have to... Do you know what it is? Every time I hear the word Pez, I go, oh, yeah, sweet. And then... But then there's one of the devs to clarify, and you start talking about football, and I just, like, go
zone
off
out. What I always imagine when me and Dave Gabe start talking about football is like, you go, okay, and then in your head, like, you're just playing Last of Us. But just like, all I'm just like, just okay.
I guarantee there is footage on our YouTube channel of me zoning out and strategizing how I'm going to continue my on the death runs.
The second that football is mentioned, is that you just see Zach going. And if you're listening, that was just me looking away from the camera because that was what was happening. Because he's gone. But yeah, I guess I got like it's weird because I've been playing a couple of games here and there, but like I do really want to play Kirby. I did want to play Elden Ring, but like I just don't know about the time, man. I'm gonna wait to see what Dav Week says more about it because I want to see how far he's got into it. I want to see how he's doing. But I actually do have a question for you, Zach. And we mentioned earlier this is going to be a Zelda podcast. This is going to turn into a Zelda ending podcast. And this is a question specifically for Zach Hamilton because I realized I had a feeling that neither of us would have a game to talk about. And we need to have something to discuss towards the end. So here's my question to you, Zach, okay? Now that Breath of the Wild has been delayed, if Nintendo had to remake any Zelda game to release this year, which one would it be and why? So the reason why I say this is because there's a big theory that a Zelda game has been released every single year for basically like I think for like 15 years. There's been a Zelda game released every single year. So Nintendo kind of been doing this for a long time to the point where like a lot of people think that Wind Waker and Twilight Princess are going to come out this year purely because there's no Zelda game coming out this year because Breath of the Wild's been moved. So my question to you is there any specific Zelda game? Because you've played most of them.
Yeah, I think so.
You played probably most of the older ones, weirdly.
Yeah, because because the new ones came out when I either was like didn't have any money, like when I was like a student, or when I was too busy to kind of like get into a Zelda game. Like because to be fair, now I think if they came out with like a traditional Zelda game, as in like Forest Temple, Water Temple, Fire Temple, like you get the cross shot or whatever the hell, I don't know if I would do that now because like I do sit and think to myself like, I mean when we played Wind Waker it was like I probably wouldn't have done that if we weren't doing it together on stream. Chicken Pie says she can relate. Well, I agree. It's just one of those things, man. Breath of the Wild feels like you can dip in and out, that sort of thing. That's a really tough question. Do you have one in mind for a remake? Yeah,
I mean, I because it's interesting because I think for me, like because I've never played them, I would like if it's games that I've played, then I guess it's one of those weird things where I would like to see. It's weird because so many Zelda games are already remakes, like partial remakes of older Zelda titles. Like Ocarina of Time to a lot of people is basically just Link to the Past in 3D. To a lot of people, it is. It follows a very similar pattern. Majora's Mask is the most interesting one. I guess for me, if I had to pick like a Zelda game that I never really played, it would either be Minish Cap, even though I did start picking up that recently, or the Oracle of Seasons.
Well, see, I think they could do that quite. I mean, they could easily just take the Link's Awakening
engine,
and just slap it on.
Yeah.
Maybe that's me not understanding coding and games and stuff.
No.
But I feel like that's not far off what they could do. That seems like the most plausible for this year to me, because like Twilight Princess is on the Switch, is it not?
So,
no, it's just on the Wii U.
So people think that the reason why people think that Twilight Princess Wind Waker is going to come out this year is because it's actually not on the Switch. And if you actually think about it, the Wind Waker's never actually been on a successful console. It's never actually released on a console that sold more than 25 million.
Yeah.
It was on the GameCube, which sold 22, and it's on the Wii U, which sold half that. So like, it could if Wind Waker comes to the Switch, it's probably going to sell the best it's ever sold, which is mad.
Yeah, that is kind of wild. Yeah, that's also plausible. It's going to be that, or it's going to be one of those two. It's either going to be Seasons and Ages, in that engine, I'm guessing, or it'll be just like an up-res Twilight Princess Wind Waker combo, I guess.
Which one would you like to see specifically? Is there any like which one, if you told Nintendo like 3 years ago, you're like, you know what, this game has to go in 2022? Like, is there a specific one you'd be like, I want this one?
I don't know, man. I feel like most of the ones that I'm thinking of are like, I like them as they are. I think Minish Cap is maybe a good one to do, because I feel like it's one that got sort of missed out a little bit, and it's not a very big game, so I don't think that it would be very. It could be done by quite a small team of developers, and that would be also probably to its benefit overall, because it's one of the more kind of like cutesy folksy kind of like side games. So that would sort of make sense. I don't know, man. I would love to see Majora's Mask done.
I was gonna say Majora's Mask.
But then it did already do it, and it's good on the 3DS. Like, it doesn't need it. It doesn't really need an update. I feel like the 3DS remakes of Ocarina and Majora's are like very solid. Like, that's just what the game is. Like, there's no fucking around. It's just like, those are the games. These are just like fixed versions of what you already like.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with them. They're not flashy. They're not trying to do anything other than that. Yeah. They're just very solid.
I have one for you then, Zach. Okay.
Go on.
Zelda 2.
Oh, see, that actually should have a remake, in my opinion, because
I think you've said this before. Actually, I'm fairly certain you've said to me before Zelda 2 would be like the most interesting remake.
Yeah, well, I feel like fundamentally it's not a broken game. It's not a bad game in many ways. It's just kind of of that era where game designers didn't really know what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
They have all this. It's very like Castlevania-ish, where they just kind of go like, they have all this cryptic bullshit where it's like, you have to go to the blah 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 blah, and it's like, I don't know what that is. I want to do Zelda now. You know what I mean? Like, and the combat's really interesting and fun. I feel like they could make a good remake of that. I don't think they would make a good remake of that because I don't think anyone wants it. I don't think that anyone, even the developer, I don't think there are loads of passionate developers out there who are like, I just want to make Zelda 2. I don't think they will, but I think that would be cool.
Okay, let's go with that one, because that was the most interesting. You heard it here, folks. Zach Hamilton is gonna make Nintendo make Zelda 2.
What do you think it's gonna be? What do you think Zelda?
I'm convinced it's gonna be the Wind Waker Twilight Princess deal. And there was rumors that it's gonna be a double pack, but if it's gonna be one, I think it'd be Wind Waker, because that's older. I think.
Although Skyward Sword was the most recent re-release.
Yeah, it's true. I think Wind Waker got re-released in 2013, and Twilight Princess was 2016. So I feel like if they were going to release one of those two first, I think it'd be Wind Waker, and then maybe
that makes sense.
maybe either next year or the year after they release Twilight Princess. It just does. It's just so weird that they're not on there already. They would sell. I mean, Wind Waker would do the best numbers it's ever done, which is just kind of sad, but also good in a way.
What do you think's the likelihood of them putting it on the Nintendo Pass thing? Nah, you don't think so?
No, I don't think so. No, I think Nintendo know full well that people will buy those games because they're Zelda. I don't know how much Skyward Sword sold. I need to check that out. But like Skyward Sword's not anywhere near as beloved as the other two.
That's true. I wonder how it did. I wonder if
I need to check that out.
Everyone hated.
Yeah. All right then, Zach. Let's call it there. We've had our Zelda fun, and now we are Zelda done. Made that up on the spot. Just want to throw that. That is the end of podcast number 90. Thank you very much for listening today. If you enjoyed the show, then please follow us, just in general, on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. We're all over the place. Tell your friends, leave us a review or a comment. Go annoy Dav on his streams. I'm sure he will love it. Tell him we sent you. He definitely liked that, actually. So go watch him because he does a lot of fun stuff. So go check that out. And that's it. We're just going to say goodbye. Thank you, ACP and Carl in particular, just chatting along with us. It's been lovely chatting to you. We're going to run along now, and we'll see you next week. Bye, friends.
Tatty, bye.